Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to a new YouTube video. I'm super excited to be sharing these mindset hacks and tips with you guys, which is going to help you in your dua journey, inshallah. So let's get started immediately. I just want to start by saying that first I'm going to go through the law of assumption altogether, what the law states and how we can imply and learn from it. If you guys are not aware, I already have a YouTube video on it, which was the very basics. Again, I'm going to brush through that and then I'm going to be sharing the tips with you guys. So what law of assumption is, and it is so similar to the fact that we make dua and believe that it's happening. So the law of assumption states that you have a desire, you ask Allah for it, and you believe with the conviction that you already have this, like it's a done deal. Like you the law states that you don't even have to ask for it more than once, but we as Muslims know how much Allah loves hearing from us, so we continue to ask from it. But again, under the law of assumption, I'm just going to stick to the law of assumption and the concept of it. So you set the intention that you want certain things, and then you believe with the conviction that it is done, it's a done deal. And then what happens in the law, the next step is that you start living like it's already done. Like if you are desiring money, you live with the intention that I already have the money. That is called blind faith in the unseen. So this is the law of assumption, where you will be living in the end. So the first step that I want to give you guys, now the law of assumption is clear, I hope so. The first step that I will be giving you guys is that what happens is, most of the time while we are living in the end, once we've made the dua, once we've made tahajjud, and we try to go about our day thinking, okay, my dua is going to be accepted regardless, it's going to happen sometime or the other, right? It so happens that your own thoughts, they start telling the waswasa of the shaitan, you think, okay, but maybe I should ask more, maybe it's not enough, maybe I have more sins, it's not gonna happen. This is the waswas that we generally give. How is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? What means do I have to take? So these are the normal waswas that we face while waiting for our duas to be manifested, right? So the first tip that I want to give you under the law of assumption is that the law states live in the end. So if you are actually living in the end, do you genuinely think that you're going to be worried about the how it's going to happen, the when it's going to happen? When you don't see any movement in your life, are you genuinely going to be worried about the hows and the whens when you are in fact living in the end? No, right? Living in the end literally means it's done, it's resolved. You think about your issue and you're like, no, it's resolved. Like, think about something in your life which was once bothering you, right? But now it has sorted over the years, alhamdulillah. So now when you think about it, you're just like, alhamdulillah, it's resolved. Think the same of your current situation, think the same of your current problems. So every time a thought comes in, you say, but no, it's already resolved, Allah has already taken care of it, right? So this is the first step. Again, I want to point this out, that your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings create the way in which you react and respond to your environment, right? So when you know that you have like solid evidence that your thoughts have already made you suffered in, like you have already suffered because of your thoughts in the past, like you have evidence, right? So why not use these thoughts to think better, to have a better opinion of Allah, right? So what happens is that when you have these thoughts, you are programming yourself to be living in the end, right? Let me like rephrase this. I'm not saying that your thoughts create your reality, because I have already clarified that in my previous video, which you guys can check out. What I'm saying is that your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings create the way in which you react to your environment. So as we were speaking about the law of assumption, you live in the end. The truth is, throughout the day, you have to believe that you are living in the end. The problem is that when you have the waswas and you're thinking how is it gonna happen, guess what? You are still living in the end. It's just you are living in the unfavorable end that you do not want. You get it? When you have a desire and throughout the day you're like, yeah, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You've been affirming for it left, right, and center, and then you have a thought saying that, you know what if it doesn't happen? You're still living in the end. It's just you're living in the wrong end of what you do not want. So if you dwell in that thought, if you continue to persist in that thought, guess what? Your reality is going to reflect that thought. So what you can do as believers, as Muslims, be so conscious, be so aware of your thoughts that inshallah your inner world, what the manifestation community says is that your inner world reflects your external worlds. So when you start being conscious of your thought, when you start being conscious of what you dwell on, what you persist in thinking, that is what is going to reflect in your life. So every time you catch yourself dwelling in the old story, dwelling in the negatives of how it's not going to work out, pause yourself immediately, catch yourself immediately, and say, this is an old story. I no longer associate with this story. I no longer want to dwell in it. I don't want to give this attention, because your attention to this story is going to create more of these thoughts, it's going to create more of these feelings, and you do not want that. You are no longer that person who thinks that things do not work out for us. You are no longer that person who does not believe that even 2 rakats of namaz cannot change your entire life. You are someone who has such conviction in Allah's generosity. You are someone who has such conviction that I just have to make dua once and Allah always answers, because that's His promise. You are a person with a new mindset, with a new identity, and you are a person who already has your desire. Will someone who already has the desire be thinking about the what ifs? Because no, when you already have something, you're not going to be worried about the not having it. You're only going to be in shukr to Allah. You're only going to be thinking about how grateful I am, Allah, that you made this happen for me. And you're only going to be thanking Him for it, right? And now that we're clear on this, the second method, how to be in this state, right? So there is this method called the I am sure method, which is one way of affirming that I do, and it truly makes a huge difference in my state of being, in my way of feeling things. So what this is that when I have made dua, I keep saying like a robot, which also is called robotic affirmation, till my mind is saturated to the point that I no longer take anything else. It's called robotic affirmation. So what I say is that I am sure, and then you can say whatever it is that you want. So what I say, like you can just say things like, I'm sure I have so and so money. But what I say is that once I've made the dua, I keep repeating to the point it is embedded in my brain, saying, I'm sure Allah has accepted my dua. I am sure this has happened. And when you say affirmations, do not just like say affirmations from the internet that you love reading, but it does not resonate with you. Say affirmations that are personal to you, saying that I'm sure I have a child, I'm sure I'm in a happy relationship, I'm sure I have so and so money, I'm sure my business is doing great. But what I like doing is just saying that I am sure Allah has accepted my dua, because I know the dua that I made to Allah, and Allah knows what I'm asking. Then why do I mean, of course you can be more specific that you want. It's just I do not want you to keep constantly dwelling on what it is that you lack, because if you keep dwelling on the lack, you're only going to be in a state of lack. But if you say things like, I'm sure I already have it, I'm sure Allah has already accepted my dua, then you will be in the state of shukr already. This is literally a zikr of Allah. You saying Alhamdulillah, I'm sure that Allah has already accepted my dua, is you having a good opinion of Allah. It is you doing the zikr of Allah. So try this I'm sure method, especially tried when you are about to go sleep. Keep repeating these affirmations till, so it is said that when you are about to sleep, your brain takes in more information without the yes or no, whether this is truth or whether this is false, because your brain only takes in what you feed it, right? So when you're about to sleep, keep saying, I'm sure Allah has accepted my dua, I am sure so and so has already happened. So when you keep repeating this, you do not have to say it with the conviction when you're sleeping, but of course when you're trying to do this during the daytime, you can feel it and say, I'm sure Allah always answers, I'm sure Allah never breaks His promise, because He's literally said, call upon me, I will respond. Allah always comes through for me. Say these affirmations till your brain literally cannot think of anything else. That is all you think about. So even when you are faced with something that is unfavorable in your life, because you have programmed your mind so much to the degree that when something goes wrong, your brain already knows, I'm sure Allah is handling this for me, I'm sure Allah has already accepted my dua, this means nothing to me, right? So the more you program your brain, because your brain is so smart, your brain will take whatever you tell it. But the truth is that you have to control what thoughts you feed. You have to be aware and be conscious of what you are feeding it, because that's why it's so important to read the Quran, to reflect on the Sunnah, to read the meaning of the Quran, so that we learn what is right and we try to eliminate the useless information that we consume on the internet. So just 15 minutes when you're scrolling Instagram, just keep your phone and 15 minutes keep telling, I'm sure this is happening, I'm sure Allah is accepting my. Close your eyes and just say this for 15 minutes, and trust me, this method is going to change the way you see things in your life. it's going to change the way things happen in your life, inshallah. And another thing I want to say is that I want you guys to also keep saying that results come to me with the least amount of effort. So this way you are not stuck constantly in the hope that I have to keep doing something or my manifestation is not going to come to me. Of course, you take the inspired action because Allah has given you a brain, Allah has given you a body, Allah has given you certain rights, saying tie your camel, do your part. But I also want you guys to wholeheartedly believe that I have done my part, and to the degree that your heart is content with how much you've done, and then you say the results come to me with the least amount of effort from my side. I do not have to move a finger, it's going to happen regardless. That is you showing that Allah have done everything I can and I submit to you. Guess what? Allah loves to take responsibility, Allah loves to answer you, Allah loves to do things for you, because at the end of the day, when you think about it, everything is from Allah. It never means that the more effort you put, the more results you're going to get. No, if results come to you with the least amount of effort, embed this in your brain, because I know our whole life we've been programmed to think that the more effort I put in, the more results I'm going to get. And if I do not put any effort, it means it's going to stop, my manifestation is going to stop. No. But when you look back in your life, you will actually realize that your manifestations always come when you least expect it, when you are not paying attention to it, when you are busy with something else. That's the truth. You put in the effort and then believe with the conviction that Allah, have done everything I can. It's in your hand, and I know you're going to do this. This is your responsibility now, and you give that responsibility to Allah, who is literally the one taking care of your affairs. It's from Him. Eventually everything is from Allah, so don't worry about how it's going to come to you, right? And then you continue with your zikr, continue with your affirmations, saying that Allah always answers me, Allah is always providing for me, Allah loves to show me grand miracles. I think this is my favorite affirmation, where I say Allah loves to show me miracles. And when I say this to you, I have witnessed, alhamdulillah, so many beautiful miracles just by saying and affirming this. It's always like Allah loves showing me that you just said this, because I keep affirming this always. It's so beautiful because every time I say this, Allah has always showed me grand miracles. In fact, I started saying Allah loves to show me grand miracles because I wanted to see even more, because Allah is an unlimited being. Why should I just say Allah grant me miracles? I said Allah grant me life-changing beautiful miracles, and trust me, it does happen, right? So all of it just comes down to you being aware of your thoughts. Like I said, you have enough evidence that your thoughts can make you suffer. Then why not use these thoughts to, in fact, work in your favor? Remember that you control your mind. Your mind does not control you, right? You do not need to go around reading 100 books about how to, saturate your mind and how to, control your subconscious mind. No, you already have it in you. You know what? When you have a desire for something, Allah has already given you the solution within it. The solution, when you have a desire, is already within you. You just need to be aware of the thoughts that you have. You just need to be in meditation of, that's why there is namaz, there is zikr. When you start doing these things, Allah will give you inspired actions. Yes, your desire, it can be fulfilled. You just need to take the inspired action that Allah gives you, for which you should be calm, for which you should be able to listen to Allah. And Allah will only give you inspired actions when you listen to Him, right? I said this in a previous video. Allah will not create the answer to your prayers until you create the belief in Him that you fully trust Him and that He's able to answer this for you, right? I hope you guys have benefited from this video. Comment down below anything and I'll be sure to answer. Jazakallah khair.